The Swedish phrase Han läste boken dels av nödtvång translates to English as, open quote, he read the book partly out of necessity, or he read the book partly because he had to. Close quote, let's break it down. Han he, läste, read, past tense of läsa. Boken equals the book, dels partly in part, av equals out of, because of. Nödtvång equals compulsion, necessity. Something done because one must brast. So the sentence implies that one of the reasons he read the book was that he had to, perhaps for school or work. Would you like me to explain the second half? The Swedish phrase därför att den hörde till kurslitteraturen i hans ämne means because it was part of the course literature in his subject. Let's break it down. Därför att equals because, den hörde till, it belonged to, it was part of. Kurslitteraturen equals the course literature, the required reading for a course. I hans ämne, in his subject field. So in context, it might describe why someone read a book. For example, open quote, Han läste boken därför att den hörde till kurslitteraturen i hans ämne. He read the book because it was part of the course literature in his subject. The Swedish phrase litteratur historia dels av lust can be translated and interpreted as, open quote, literary history partly out of pleasure, or literary history partly for enjoyment. Close quote. Let's break it down. Literature historia equals literary history, the study or history of literature. Dels equals partly, in part, partially. Av lust equals out of desire or from enjoyment, pleasure. So the phrase means that someone studies or engages with literary history partly because they enjoy it or take pleasure in it, not only for academic or professional reasons. The Swedish phrase eftersom han tyckte om Balzac means because he liked Balzac. Breaking it down, eftersom equals because since, han equals he, tyckte om equals liked, literally thought well of. Balzac equals the French writer Honoré de Balzac. So the sentence literally says because he liked Balzac. The Swedish sentence framför honom på mattan låg den rävröda rackan och tuggade sorgmodigt på Sveriges kommunallagar can be translated and interpreted as follows. Literal translation, in front of him on the rug lay the reddish-brown rascal, chewing sadly on Sweden's municipal laws. Breaking it down, framför honom på mattan, in front of him on the rug, låg den rävröda rackan, lay the reddish-brown rascal, literally, rävröda equals fox-colored, or reddish-brown. Rackan equals rascal, a mischievous creature or dog, och tuggade sorgmodigt, and chewed sadly, på Sveriges kommunallagar, on Sweden's municipal laws, literally the laws governing local municipalities in Sweden. Interpretation. The sentence is humorous and absurdist. It paints a whimsical image, a reddish-brown animal, likely a dog, sitting on a rug, chewing on actual legal texts related to Swedish municipal law and doing so with a sad demeanor. It's a playful, literary style, mixing the mundane, laws, with something mischievous or absurd, a dog chewing them. If you want, The phrase det var ingen av de bästa böckerna is Swedish. Word by word, it translates to det, it, that. Var equals was. Ingen equals none, not one. Av equals of. De bästa böckerna, the best books. So the full sentence means it was not one of the best books. Or more literally, it was none of the best books. The semicolon at the end is unusual in English, but might be used stylistically in Swedish to continue a related thought. If you want, I can The sentence is in Swedish. Let's break it down carefully. Original sentence. Limmet i ryggen var inte lika gott som i Frödings samlade skrifter. Word by word translation. Limit, the glue. I ryggen equals in the back. Var inte lika gott som was not as good as. I Frödings samlade skrifter equals in Frödings collected writings. Literal translation. The glue in the back was not as good as in Frödings collected writings. Interpretation. This sounds like a humorous or ironic remark. It likely refers to a bookbinding situation. Maybe someone bought a book, and the binding glue in the spine wasn't of high quality, certainly not as good as the professionally bound editions of Fröding's collected works. Fröding was a famous Swedish poet. So it's not about literal taste or something like that. It's a witty comment on the quality of bookbinding. If the sentence Rakan tyckte bättre om Fröding is in Swedish. Breaking it down, Rakan, a proper name or nickname, probably a person or an animal, tyckte bättre om, literally, liked better or preferred. Fröding, another proper name, likely referring to Gustaf Fröding, a famous Swedish poet. So the sentence translates to Rakan liked Fröding better, or Rakan preferred Fröding. If you want, I can also explain a bit about why someone might say this. It could be a reference to literary taste or just a personal preference.